Tonight's topic is, does it matter what dog grooming tools you use? This is a great topic. I'm excited. I'm sure many of you are too. Should you have different combs, brushes, scissors, hundreds of shampoos and conditioners? Should you have that? Or can you simplify it a bit, a lot? Or will one comb, one brush, one clipper, one shear, one brand of shampoo, one brand of conditioner, will that be all that you need to groom any dog? Is that possible? Is that okay? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to talk about that tonight. There's a lot of confusion surrounding dog grooming tools and products. With so many to choose from, it can be difficult to decide which tools and products you should use. I know this because I've groomed many dogs for many years as a professional pet groomer. So I have been all over the place with this subject. Do I need one of everything or 10 of everything, right? So there's always a new tool or product hitting the market, guys, and they all claim to outshine all the others in their class. But is that true? And that's what we want to discuss tonight. I think it's important that we do discuss that. And I have, as a groomer, I've started with the very basic tools because that's all I could afford at the time out of the gate, and evolved into having too many tools that I don't even touch or remember that I even have. So it really inspired me to talk about this with you guys today, and you guys have inspired this topic too. We're going to get to that. So I'm here tonight to tell you that all you really need to purchase are basic tools to groom dogs and take care of those tools. That's important. I listen to your questions, your comments, your concerns. Some of the most common questions that I answer daily, guys, through email and comments, or even in my Facebook group. Some of those common questions are, what clipper should I use to trim my golden doodle? What brush should I use if I brush a Yorkie? I have a Yorkie. What brush do I use? What blade or snap-on comb should I use on my Maltese? Do you see the pattern? They're all specific breeds. I have a Maltese. What brush do I use? I have a golden doodle. What clipper do I use? What shampoo should I use to bathe my Shih Tzu? These are questions that I hear all the time. I spend so much time responding to your emails and your comments and your posts, but I find myself often repeating myself every time. So I think people are putting too much importance on, I have this dog, what do I need to groom it? Okay, the specific dog. Grooming tools are not specific to each dog breed, guys. There are some that are, but overall in general, grooming tools are not specific to each breed of dog. You can use the same detachable blade clipper on a Yorkie as you would on a standard poodle. One dog is very small and has a silky drop coat, while the other one, the standard poodle, is large in size and has a thick curly coat. How can I use the same clipper on that dog? We're going to talk about that. Any detachable blade clipper will get the job done nicely on either dog. So, what's the difference? We'll talk about that. I say that a lot, don't I? What about shears and scissors? That's another big one. That's a topic that gets brought to my attention quite often by my friends here, you guys, my followers, my viewers. What determines which shear you should use? Very important, and we'll talk about that. And do you need 10 shears or 2 shears? What really do you need? And I'm going to put myself as a professional when I answer these questions, okay? I am going to let you guys have the honest to God truth. Tonight right here, I am determined to simplify your frustration when it comes to choosing the right tools to groom your dog. Brushes are the only tool that should vary from one breed to the next. So brushes can get a little, we'll talk about that in depth. Brushes is a little bit in a category of their own because it's important to use the right brush on the right coat type. And we went into great detail about that subject last week, live from the grooming table. You guys, that was a good one. So if you haven't watched that one, go back and watch last week's live from the grooming table. It was about brushes and how to clean them. And it was actually one of my favorite live streams. I watched it again and I loved the information that was shared in that. So I did a good job. And I hope that it helped you. I got a lot of good feedback from you guys, so that made me feel even better about it. So before we dive into this topic tonight, I want you to think about something. Now think about it. Clear your minds. Get them clear. Come on. Okay. So my hairstylist uses the same shear. Where's my shears? She uses the same shear. She doesn't use a Kenji Sapphire shear, but she does use the same shear on every haircut that she performs, whether that's a short haircut, a long haircut, a little child's first haircut. She uses the same shear. How does she perform all the different haircut styles with only one shear? How does she do it? Why do dog groomers have to have 50 shears? She can do this because the scissor that she uses is one that fits her nicely. It fits great in her hand. It's comfortable for her. So there are many different shears, but she has one that fits good in her hand. It's comfortable to her to use every day, and obviously she's happy with the results that it produces, or she would probably look for a new shear. So does that set the stage a little bit for our discussion tonight? Okay, our hairdressers, they use one shear. Sometimes they'll break out a blending shear, but they don't have to. So let's start this discussion tonight, guys, with clippers, okay? That's one that I often get emails about. So, clippers. This is what's called a detachable blade clipper. This is a Wall. It's made by Wall, as you can see. It's called a KM cordless. So it is actually the cordless version of the Wall KM10, which I have that too. That happens to be my favorite clipper, the Wall KM10, and now the Wall KM. It is designed, the housing is the same as the KM. The housing of this clipper feels very good to me in my hand. And when I hold this shear and I'm clipping, it feels well balanced in my hand. And that's important to me to decide what clipper I want to use every day to groom all the dogs that I groom. Because if I pick the wrong clipper that's too heavy, that maybe it vibrates more than this one, and that's going to kind of bother my wrist. Really, it will, as well as it could very much so upset the dog that I'm grooming, because they have a very keen sense of hearing. So if I've got a loud vibrating clipper, like let's say the Oster, because I don't like Oster clippers. They're heavy too. So that might bother the dogs that I groom, and that's one of the reasons why I don't use an Oster and I use this one. I've used many, many different Andis brand clippers. I like them very much so out of the gate, but they don't hold up. And I've noticed that over the years, they're constantly needing repairs. My Wall KM10 and this Wall KM, it is not like that. It rarely needs the slightest thing replaced from wear and tear. Rarely. And you know I tell you the truth. I have no reason to tell you differently. Wall does not pay me to tell you anything. And I'll never be paid to tell you anything about clippers, or I'm not paid to tell you anything. Let's just say that. I am not paid to tell anybody anything. So now, the topic that we're speaking of at the moment is clippers. Now, I'm telling you why the Wall KM10 is my favorite. But however, if you purchase the Wall KM10, you may say, I don't like the way it feels. I like the housing of the Andis clipper much better. I like the way that feels in my hand. And that's okay, because guess what? You can use whatever detachable blade clipper you want. You don't have to use the Wall KM because Amy does. But you do have to use a detachable blade clipper if you're going to be a professional. You need to have a detachable blade clipper for the really heavy, thick coats. Now, what does that mean, detachable blade clipper? Detachable blade clipper is a clipper that has this little release on the back. So when you push it, it releases this blade. This is what's called a detachable blade. This is my Kenchi Flash 5. This is not a detachable blade clipper. Now I'm going to explain what I mean by that and what that means and what type of clipper this is and when you would use it. So whenever you hear me say detachable blade clipper, it is any clipper, whether it's a Wall KM2, an Andis Ultra Edge, an Andis AGC2, whatever. My mic falling down. A Lob, Conair. There's so many detachable blade clippers that the blades you buy separately. You buy a 10. This is only a 10 blade. That's what size it is. You buy, your 7 blades separately. And they all, no matter what, whether this was an Andis blade and a wall clipper, if this is a detachable blade and this is a detachable blade clipper, they will work together. They will fit, okay? But the important thing is finding the clipper that you like. So now you see Amy talking a lot about this Kenchi Flash 5. It is not a detachable blade clipper. Yes, this blade does come off and you can replace it. But this is what's called an adjustable blade clipper. Do you see the settings on the back? It says 8, 9, 10, 15, and 30. That means when I move this lever, it changes the length of this blade. Let me show you. Let me get real close. Okay, that's at a 30. See, the teeth are getting longer. Now they're getting shorter. Okay, so these are extremely nice. This is a very well-made clipper. And it also has speed control. It does not vibrate very much. It is light, much lighter than any of our detachable blade clippers. It's very light, so it's very comfortable. But you say, okay, can I use that to trim any dog, any breed? Actually, you can. You can with the guard combs that you buy separately. These are specifically for a detachable blade clipper. And these guard combs, these are made by Kenchi, they will fit other adjustable blade clippers like the Wall Bravera, the Wall Arco, the Chromato, which is a Wall, even the Shear Cool Edge, I think it is. I think these will fit. So these are pretty universal. But without these combs, you cannot give a dog a haircut with this because the longest blade setting you've got is an 8. That's very short. I don't go any shorter than a 7 blade on the body of any dog. So, in other words, you can actually clip a standard poodle with this clipper if you're using the attachment combs, which attach very easily. They just slide right on there. And they stay on very nicely. The metal guard combs, it's a quiet clipper. The metal guard combs are very sturdy. They glide through the coat nice. They're wonderful. Just like the metal guard combs that we use for our detachable blade clippers. It has to be a 10, sorry. Okay, now, so I can use guard combs on here too. Well, they look alike, but they're different because these guard combs are only meant to fit on this type of blade. And this is an adjustable blade. This is a detachable blade. It's different. I mean, obviously, look at the size, guys. It's not going to fit. They're different. Okay? But they perform the same. They really do. But you can't put a 7 blade on the Kenchi Flash 5. But you can use these guard combs. So that goes back to Do I have to have a detachable blade clipper and a Kenchi Flash 5? Actually, you don't. If you're a professional, I highly recommend you have, yes, a detachable blade clipper and an adjustable blade clipper. You can do without the adjustable blade, even if you're a professional. You can do everything with this one clipper. Sanitary, pads of feet, you can use your guard combs, you can use the different blades. You have to purchase the different blades, the 10, the 30 for the pads of feet, the 7 for your summer haircuts. And then, of course, you have to purchase the guard combs, which are around $40, $45 if you want to leave length without having to hand scissor. So back to the question. If you are a professional, can you get away with using one clipper? Yes. If you groom your dog at home, can you get away with using one clipper? Yes. Only buying one clipper. If you only groom one dog, your dog or your 2 dogs or your 3 dogs, can you go with the Kenchi Flash 5 as your sole clipper? Yes, you can. As long as you use the guard combs to leave the length on the body, legs. It can even help you set the length on the top knots, on the cheeks, on the muzzle. Yes, you can. This is a powerful clipper. I can groom my large golden doodle with this clipper and those attachments. I have done it. So that's good to know, and that's another video, isn't it? But yes, so that eliminates us professionals or home groomers from having to have 4 different clippers. The only reason we have 4 different clippers is because we like them. And we want to see, oh wow, I bet you that new one is going to outperform everything. And then you buy it and you're like, well, it's good, but I could have just proceeded with this. I would have been fine. Or I could have proceeded with this. I would have been fine. So no, you don't need a slew of clippers. You really only need one. And technically, it should be a detachable blade clipper. That's my opinion. Okay, so moving on. Next subject is comb attachments. All right, good. We just kind of talked about it. So, do we need to have Oster's full set of comb attachments? Do we need to have Andis's full set of comb attachments? These are comb attachments. Do we need to have Kenchi's, Wall, you name it? There's generic attachment combs. You can buy them all day long. Do we need to have a drawer full of the same guard combs, like 10 3/8 of an inch? No, you don't. You really only need one set. Maybe a backup set if you're a professional, in case something goes wrong and you drop it and bend it or break it. But you do need these, whether you're grooming your dog at home or you're a professional. So these are for detachable blades. These are for adjustable blade clippers. And as a professional, I use them all the time. They save me time. They make, let's not forget, time savers are a gift to the dog that we're grooming too, right? Because I'm sure they pretty much would rather be done and go take a nap if they had their choice, So time savers as a pet groomer is important to not only the groomer, but to the dog. And I don't mean time savers like skipping steps or rushing. That's never something you should do. So guard comb attachments are made to either be for detachable blades, which are the blades that you buy separately and put them on your detachable blade clipper. So they are made to either be for detachable blades or they're made to be for adjustable blade clippers. And that's it. Those 2 types of clippers. So they're very handy. They're very important. And I think that every home groomer or professional groomer should have them. You never know when you're going to get into a situation where you wished you would have if you don't have them. Otherwise, you got to do a lot of hand scissoring, which is fun, especially if you're only trimming your own dog and you know how to hand scissor. Then that becomes your hobby. you know, so that's a good thing. But just setting angulation with these guard combs, I do that all the time, even if I'm going to scissor a dog. I still set the angulation so I know I got a nice even length to start with. And it's very helpful as a professional. So that's comb attachments. Oh, the next topic we're going to talk about is shears. Now, like our hairdressers, can we get away with just having one shear? And if so, what shear should that be? There's so many shears and there's a reason for that. First of all, some people like a shorter shear, like a 7.5 inch shear, and that's fine. It's called preference. That's fine. So here's a 7 inch. Oh, this is an 8-inch shear. Could I groom all my dogs with this one shear and get rid of all the other, I don't know, 40 shears, 50 shears that I have? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could groom any dog with one pair of shear. Could I groom any dog if I chose to only have a blending shear? No, I need that straight shear. You need that straight shear, that you need that precision, especially when you're trimming around pads of feet. You don't want to have to be sitting there with a blending shear trimming around the pads of the feet. You know, your chances of nicking the dog are quite greater. You want to stay away from the pads of the feet with a blending shear. Straight shears are very precise, and blending shears just soften your work. So, well, should that one shear be an 8-inch shear? Should it be a 7-inch shear? Should it be a 9-inch shear? Well, that goes again towards preference. Even if you're a professional, can you groom every dog with one pair of 8-inch shears? Absolutely, yes, you can. Absolutely. You don't need all those other shears. It's just a want. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to have more than you need. It's fun to use different shears. I get it, because that's what we do. It's like if we were an artist and somebody said, well, you can only paint with the color red. I'd be like, oh, but I love so many colors. Sure, I can make a beautiful painting with red, but I want to use the greens and the yellows and the blues and the golds. You know, so it's preference. But shears come in all different makes. You know, you have your shears that the finger, these are both offset. Anyway, the finger rest can be equal, so it kind of makes them flippable. You can use it and flip your shears, or they can be offset like this. Some people, this doesn't feel good. The offset doesn't feel good in their hand. To me, my favorite is the offset shear. The shear that has the thumb and the finger rest, yeah, they're not lined up perfectly, because my hands don't line up perfectly when I use my shears. I also like these shears. These are my shears, the sapphire shears, but they have the little natural indentations that naturally wants to put your hand where it should be in order to properly balance the shear. It's important. If your shear is properly balanced, even if it's a bigger shear like this 8-inch, if it's properly balanced, you'll not fatigue your hand and your work will be very steady and you'll produce good work. If you prefer a 7-inch shear, can you still groom a standard poodle? Yes, you can. I believe Suzanne uses a 7 or 7.5 inch shear. She said that's what feels good to her. She has the most control over a shear like that. So there again, guys, do we need to have all these shears? If you're going to groom your dog, do you need to have 10 pairs of shears? No, you do not. You really only need one, and it would have to be either a straight or a curved. And I would say go for the straight if that's the only shear you're going to have. You can get it done with a curve too. So, and obviously there's a lot of shears are for left-handed people too, which is very important. If you're a left-handed person, definitely seek out a shear that's made for a left-handed hand, because that is going to give you the best results and not fatigue your hand. So, and a lot of shears come in lefties, so that's important. and take advantage of that. So if you are a lefty, don't suffer through your using a right-handed shear because you don't think you have options. You do. The same shears you can purchase for lefties. Not all of them. My shears don't come in lefties yet, but it's possible that they will because they have become a very good seller. So I think Kenchi might, tend to play upon that and say, well, let's start, trying to make everybody happy now. Another thing with shears, another question I get asked a lot in emails and in comments is, I just want a shear to groom my dog. I don't want an expensive shear. Well, my first response to that is, what's an expensive shear? I mean, you think, to me, a $200 shear is not even expensive. That to me is an everyday shear. When you get up over $200, now we're talking about, do I really need it? I realize it's made of lighter metal. It's going to hold a sharper edge longer because of the type of metal that it is. I realize all that. But do I really need it? I'm grooming pets. I'm not competition grooming. I'm not grooming, for show where I'm grooming quickly before the dog goes into the show ring. And even if that was the case, I can produce beautiful work with these shears. But those are the things that make you think, do I want to spend more on my shear? But my problem, and I'm getting this vibe from a lot of people that ask me, what shear should I buy? All I'm trimming is my Yorkie, and I don't want to spend much. Well, I understand that. I mean, you can go buy a pair of shears for $30 on Amazon, and they usually don't work even the first time you go to use them. Now, that's a total waste of money. Or you can go to a shear maker who that's what they do, and that's what they back up. They back up their business. And they say, hey, we've got lines that start, we've got shears that start around $89, and they're all good shears. Just because this one's $89 and this one is $300 doesn't mean the $89 one isn't going to give you a lot of bang for your buck throughout the day or grooming your own dog. It's going to be great. It's going to hold a sharp edge for a long period of time. It's going to be well balanced. Stay away from buying shears on Amazon or from any shear. Don't buy shears from anybody who doesn't make shears or who is. There's people who are affiliated with shear makers, like say Groomer's Choice. Groomer's Choice is affiliated with certain brands like Guibe and Kenchi and Monk, where they sell their shears, but they also are affiliated with them in a way. They have a business agreement that they back up the product. So they wouldn't be selling it if it was junk. So be careful about that. Shears especially. You can also pay too much for cheap shears. So definitely if you're going to buy cheers. If you're going to buy shears, get them from a shear maker that is passionate about their work, and hopefully all they do is make shears, because most of the shear manufacturers that just make shears make a really good shear, and they have very affordable shears that start at $99 and they go all the way up from there. But you can buy your $99 shears are going to be, if you only groom your own dog, you may never have to buy another pair of shear. You will always have to get them sharpened at some point. And especially if you're not cleaning them, or if you're trimming a dirty coat, like if you're trimming your dog and you haven't bathed or brushed and properly blown them out or properly brushed them, it will dull your shears quicker. So don't blame it on the shears. It's because you're not using them properly. You shouldn't use good shears on a dirty coat. I mean, it's going to dull them. When it comes to grooming products, as far as, wow, this clipper's like magic. I could groom any dog that I groom today with the clippers that I started with, if they still worked, but they don't. If the clippers that I started with, which was an Andis single speed, corded, I could still be grooming and producing the same work. It's your work that comes through the tools. It's not the tools that do the work for you. You can buy a $500 clipper, and maybe it feels good, it's light, but if you're not using it properly, you're not going to have success. Your work is going to either be unsuccessful or look really bad if you're not if you don't know the proper procedures to groom the dog and how to use the clipper. So, yes, back to the point. I could definitely groom any dog to this day that I still groom with the same clipper that I started with. I just chose to upgrade to something that was a little quieter, a little more comfortable in my hand. Maybe had a faster RPM, you know, so it could really kind of push through those big heavy coats. But my Andis 1-speed would still go through that. I just had to move slower. As a professional, I like to groom like this, not like this. You know, so that's the difference. That's it. You don't have to keep upgrading your tools. And you got to be careful if you're in the business of dog grooming, if you are a professional, to not constantly be pouring all your proceeds into buying new tools because you're excited to use new tools. You're eating away your profits. Find good scissors, good brushes, good clippers that work for you and stick with it and just groom them dogs. So on to the next topic, shampoo. Okay, wow, that's one I get asked a lot. I have a Yorkie. What shampoo should I use? I have a Shih Tzu. What shampoo should I use? Whatever shampoo you want, as long as it's made for pets, it's pH balanced, and it's pet safe. You know, it's a reputable company. This is a Tropiclean product. When I groom dogs, and I use a bathing system, so when I groom dogs in my grooming salon, I have already chosen the shampoos and conditioners that I choose to purchase in stock are shampoos and conditioners that I know would be nice across the board on any coat type, which means they're not going to be too heavy. They're certainly not drying. And they're not too moisturizing, but they are hydrating. So it's important to me to choose that. I groom all different breeds with the same shampoos and conditioners every time. The important thing is that that dog is getting cleaned and conditioned with products that are not going to gum up in the coat or over dry. But that is the important thing, not whether it's Tropiclean, let's say Tropiclean puppy shampoo versus what about the coat handler Deshed? You know, I have a Husky. Do I have to use a Deshed shampoo? No, no way. You don't have to. You can have perfect results with the puppy shampoo from Tropiclean. It's the fact that you're cleaning the dog and you're going through the proper methods of brushing, combing, conditioning, force drying. Those are the methods that produce the results. It's really not the shampoo and conditioner. However, if you're using bad shampoos and conditioners, like something that's, you know, just not enriched with nutrients, you know, we want to clean the coat and then we want to moisturize the coat. It's very important. So if you're using, you know, obviously human products is a no-no. They're not pH balanced for our dogs, so we can't do that. But let's say you're just using some really cheap, I don't know, Hart's brand shampoo you picked up at the drugstore and you're not seeing great results, or you're finding that it's kind of drying your dog's skin. Well, that's because it's really not a shampoo or conditioner that is made from a manufacturer that manufactures nothing but shampoo and conditioner and cares about the outcome of the finished product. You know, your Tropiclean, all your shampoo manufacturers that just manufacture shampoo and conditioner, they're really going to pour a lot into their products so that you're happy with them. So you're pretty safe there. So to answer that question, what do I use if I have a Shih Tzu? Well, you could use whatever you want. You could use the Petology fortifying keratin. You could use the sensitive skin if you just want to play it safe. You don't have to, but you could. It ain't going to hurt anything. You could use the Tropiclean puppy. You could use the One Step Silky from Bark to Basics. Whatever you want. You can use any dog shampoo on any breed. It's okay. The important thing is that they're getting cleaned properly and they're getting the bath. That's important. Once a month, bathe your dogs, definitely. Sometimes sooner. If they have a long coat, bathe them more than once a month with a pet safe product, and always, always, always condition. This is the Sun Guard by Nature Specialty. This is one of my favorites. I heard a rumor a while ago that it was being discontinued, and I don't find that to be true. My supplier still has it on the list, so I don't think it is discontinued. But I hope not. It's a good one. But there's so many different conditioners that you can mix and match. You can use a Tropiclean shampoo and a Nature Specialty conditioner if that's your favorite. That's okay. Don't think you can't do that. I do that all the time because I've found that if I marry certain products together, I'm wowed by the results, you know, and that's what tells you if you are using the right products, is how your dog's skin and coat looks and feels after the groom, how your dog's skin and coat looks and feels in 2 weeks. If it still looks and feels good and it didn't get real dry and itchy and flaky, that tells you something. Your products are working good. They balanced out the skin and coat. So that's what I want to say about shampoo and conditioner is don't stress over it, guys. Don't think, I have a Shih Tzu, there's got to be a shampoo and conditioner that I must be using because I have a Shih Tzu and I need to know what it is. Or I have a Schnauzer. What is it that I should use on this Schnauzer? Because if I use the wrong one, this Schnauzer is going to look bad. Not true. Not true. You know, there's whitening shampoos, there's degreasing shampoos, there's all kinds of shampoos, but those shampoos are just made, in my opinion, they're not even necessary. That's my opinion. Good shampoo and conditioner is going to clean and balance out the dog's coat. That's what's important. Yes, we have certain breeds like Spaniels that are a little more oily in their skin. You know, it's typical. But still, if they're bathed often enough with a good, safe product, their skin and coat is going to be beautiful. So don't stress over it. Find something that, you know, your groomer recommends and likes, or do your research online and find out what the buzz is about, what are their favorite products, and go with that. Try that. Don't stress over what breed you have and am I using the right shampoo for my Maltese? Yeah, probably you are. You know, it's okay. The important thing is to wash and condition, not what the product is. As long as it's pet safe, pH balanced for pets, you're golden. So don't stress over it. The next thing, deshedding tools. Oh, I'm so glad to be talking about this. So there are a lot of deshedding tools. Oh, there are so many. They may look like this. They may look like this. They may look like this. Do you know what the best deshedding tools are? Before we had all these, because we only started going nutsy on the deshedding tools probably within about the last 20 years. Before that, what was it? These. These are your best deshedding tools, no matter what. Your comb and your brush. These are the best deshedding tools, and you know why? They're the safest. They're the safest for your dog. It may take you a little longer to get the dead coat out of your dog with these two as it would with this. But you know what? These two aren't going to take more coat than wants to come out naturally. If you continue and put too much pressure into your dog's coat, you could irritate the skin and you could take good coat, top coat that you don't want to take with something like this. So I always tell you guys to stay away from deshedding tools. They're not necessary. Gosh, are they helpful? Yes, especially if you really respect them. People buy these and they start raking out their dog. They don't even brush their dog, ever. They use this. First of all, that would hurt because until you have separated all the hair and got the dead hair out, and you just go right for this, you're pulling your dog's hair. Why would you want to do that? Just so you see that you got a big pile of hair out? That's cruel. Don't do that. Your comb and your brush are your best dematting tools, and how you use them is you brush the dog in an area and then you come through it with a comb. The comb is going to slide through nicely. That means your work is done. You've brushed well. In that area, you can move on to the next area. Use your slicker brush. You'll get all kinds of dead hair in the brush. Follow through with your comb. If your comb slides through nicely, then you're good to go. If it doesn't, if it gets stuck in the coat, back it out. Start brushing again until this guy can gently slide through the coat. This is never to be used on its own, and I see so many people doing it. I only comb my dog's hair. It's too harsh. If you're only combing your dog's hair, it will pull and tug on your dog's hair. There's always bound to be a little bit of dead coat in there that's wound up in another piece of hair. So this is going to catch on it. This isn't. This is going to slide through it and loosen it and slide it out of the coat. So this is not to be used on its own. But all you really need to groom any dog, a Samoyed, a Husky, a Yorkie, is a brush and a comb. And I'll be honest with you, when I am working with those heavy double-coated dogs like St. Bernard or Samoyed, I never use this on them, ever. Because if I pull too much, an abundance of undercoat is going to grow, and it just messed up the whole ratio of the primary to secondary hair on that dog. I don't want to do that. That's not my mission for these dogs. I don't want to mess up their coat. I do want to remove dead coat, and that's why I use a brush and a comb and a little bit of quicker slicker or a dematting spray that's going to add a little bit of slip into the coat so that it'll release out when I'm brushing and combing. But this is all you need. You don't need any of these tools. Even if you're a professional, you don't need any of these tools. If you're carding out a coat, yes, you can remove a lot of coat with this. But if you're carding a dog, a spaniel that you only get in maybe every 6 to 8 weeks, and that's probably the only time the dog's been brushed in the first place, then you're already trying to card out way too much coat than this dog can withstand in this grooming session. Because if anybody wants a coat carded in a flat coat like on a spaniel, then they need to be doing a lot of the work at home, a lot of the carding and the brushing and the bathing, a lot of it to maintain that flat coat. If they're not, you're not going to produce it once every 6 weeks or 8 weeks as a professional. And trying to get it done with a rake is just going to blow out the coat anyway. It's just going to pull too much and it's going to grow in thicker. So don't do it. All right, so there's brushes and combs. Got to have them. Do you need 50 combs? No, you don't. Are you grooming a show dog? Maybe you find the comb that you like for your specific dog. Poodles, very fine combs for certain little drop coats, you know. But as a pet groomer, I like to have a comb that has both. It has, let me back up. It has the fine teeth, and then it has the coarse teeth. So as I'm beginning my work, I start here. When I'm scissoring, I use this side, not the fine. When I'm scissoring to fluff up the coat a little bit, I use the teeth that are further apart, so it grabs and lifts the coat. If I'm trimming, say, a tedious area around eyes, even around the bottoms of the feet where I'm trying to pull all the hair out so I can trim it nice, then I'll go for the fine tooth. But having a comb that has both is all you need as a groomer or as a home groomer. You don't need 40 combs. There, you know, and that's the truth. Do you need all these products? And that's why I did this live stream, is to honestly answer, no, you don't really need that to groom beautiful dogs. You don't. And that's the truth. So, of course, us groomers, we're a collector of fine things. We always want a new product. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're a home groomer and you're like, but I like trying new tools and brushes, If you have the money to spend on it, do it. It's your hobby. Enjoy it. That's okay. So hand stripping tools. Boy, there are many hand stripping tools, aren't they? A lot of hand stripping tools. Your carding knives, your little finger grippies, carding stones, you name it. There's so many. But you know what they used to use before they started using all that? Their fingers. There's a technique to hand stripping. You hold the hair up and you pluck out the top coat. It comes right out. You pluck it out. You don't bother the undercoat. You pluck out the top coat. And you can do that in the right direction if you know what you're doing with your fingers. If your fingers aren't enough, you could just put a couple of those little rubber condoms on that people use in offices to count papers or whatever, and you're good to go. You really don't have to use carding knives. They make it easy, but years ago, people only used their fingers, and people only had one pair of shears. And people were lucky if they even had a clipper. So now that we have thousands and thousands of dollars in our grooming shops full of tools, it's just excess. And I know we like them. I do too. But what I'm trying to say is, do you have to do this? What do you need? You need a comb, a brush, a shear, a clipper, a nail trimmer, couple blades, and maybe some guard combs. To groom dogs, that's really all you need. Can you get away with any less than that? No. You have to at least have those items. And then, yes, you can groom any dog. And I mean it. And I say about the deshedding tools, and I say you don't have to have them. I mean it. You don't have to. I don't deshed dogs with tools. I sometimes do, but I'm very religious about how I use them. And I don't stray from the methods. And I know, and I'm very in tune with, I'm feeling a little pull, I'm done here. You know, or it's pulling too much, or it'll change the color of the dog's coat. There's just so many reasons to be careful when you're using deshedding tools. You're much safer to use these two. You're not going to damage the coat, you're not going to pull too much, and you're not going to cause the coat to have an abundance of undergrowth coming in because you pulled too much coat out. And now the top coat isn't there protecting the undercoat, and it just grows. So those are it. That's the deal, guys. And with brushes, you know, I said this last week, honestly, the thing with brushes is, yes, you need to find a brush that works well for your dog's coat type and that works well for you. Do you have a short-haired breed like a boxer or a bulldog or something, and you really, really just want a boar bristle brush? If that's all you have. If you have a long-coated dog, you know, like a bearded collie or even a collie, you know, your pen brush is going to be nice. Your slicker brushes are going to help too with removing some of that dead coat, but you can get it done with this and a comb. Brushes are a little different because depending on the coat type does often determine what brush you really should use in order to produce the best work. However, can you just use a slicker brush on any dog? If I could only have this slicker brush, could I groom all the dogs that I groom? Absolutely. Yeah, I could. Absolutely. Will I brush differently a bulldog than I would a bearded collie? Yes, my technique would be different. Absolutely. Will this still produce good results on a bulldog? Yes. Versus not brushing him and not helping distribute the oils and the blood flow throughout his skin and coat? Yes, the brushing is very important. You can get it all done with a slicker brush if you use the proper brushing techniques. But I said it last week, what is your dog's coat type? Coat type determines what brush you should consider for your dog. Whether it's a slicker, a pin brush, or a boar bristle brush. Coat type determines that. So that is the notes that I have put together for you tonight. I don't think I forgot anything there, but now let's take some questions and see what you guys are talking about. There's 135 of us here. Thank you all for being here. I hope you're enjoying the topic. But I do intend to answer some questions because I know that that helps you guys tremendously. So I'm just going to, if you've put a line in front of your question, I will be able to see it, and I am about to jump in here after I make my screen a little bigger and answer some of your questions. Raising My Pack says, what is the shelf life of pedology keratin? Sorry if somebody already asked, I'm just getting on. No problem. The shelf life of, I don't know the shelf life of every shampoo. I'm not affiliated with pedology. I just like it. But I'd say they're all about the same. In fact, I have one right here. This is a conditioner. I'm not sure that it has an expiration date, and if it doesn't, I'd say as long as it doesn't become very discolored or smell weird, you're good, because they all have preservatives in them, as long as you haven't added water and diluted it. Once you add water, you're killing it, and it has to be used up right away or thrown out. I don't see any expiration dates on that, and I don't see it on any other shampoos, so I don't think that's a thing. I mean, it's never been something for me that I had to worry about. And if the product is starting to change color, you know, as a groomer, I have shampoos for years. As long as I haven't diluted them, I can still pour them into, you know, either a bucket and wash the dog, or into a mixing bottle and then dilute it. As long as you haven't diluted it, you know, it should hold up real good for you for years. I have shampoos for years, different shampoos for years that are still good. So I wouldn't get too hung up on that. Because don't forget, there's preservatives in there. Sharon Sage says, I'm not a pro groomer. Is there a preferred place to purchase clippers? I typically purchase most all of my grooming supplies at groomerschoice.com because they have everything that I need. So I don't have to pay shipping for this order and then turn around and go to Pet Edge and order $50 worth of product over there. I order it all from places where I know I can get the full order. My blades, my brushes, my ear cleaning solution, my shampoos, my guard combs, all of that. I order from one place, whether it's Pet Edge, Groomer's Choice, Love Groomers, Ryan's Pet Supplies. Those are my favorites right there. Chewy has a lot of good products when it comes to dog grooming. Chewy.com. So that's what I would do. One-stop shopping, because you're going to pay shipping. Let's face it, our shampoos and conditioners get heavy to ship. So all of those places, when your orders are over $100, they offer you free shipping. And that's important to take advantage of that. Otherwise, you're going to pay about $30 in shipping. That's a lot of money, you know? So I like to do one-stop shop. Get it all in one place and get it all sent to me ASAP. All right, and Toy Maker says, I just spit. Toy Maker says, does the curve make it easier to clip in the corners, or should I use a straight shear? That's all preference. I can use a straight shear and never use a curve, or I can use a curved shear for a whole groom too. And it's preference. Which do I prefer? I can live without a curved shear, but then as soon as I have one that I like I really like my curved shear, the Sapphire, I tend to sometimes just use it for the entire groom. So either one. It's your preference. You can't go wrong either way. Impossible Pup is super chatting. Get out of here. You don't have to do that, David T. You're crazy, pup. Thank you for the super chat. And thanks for being here tonight. And I'm probably going to see you at Intergroom this week. I was all goofed up. I thought last week, I think I said I'm going to Intergroom this weekend. I was wrong. I have my dates mixed up. As later in the week, I'm going, wait a minute, I don't go to Inner Groom this week. It's next week. Oh my. Yeah. Thank you, David, for the super chat. If you're there, we'll definitely have to get together. We're all getting together. Rudy and Anthony and Jess from Paparazzi Pets and myself are getting together at 6 p.m. Saturday night in the parking lot of the event at Intergroom where Jess's mobile van is, and we're going to party. Definitely. We're going to get together. We're going to do a meet and greet where we can really talk and just be one-on-one with anybody who shows up. It's always fun, and I can't wait. So that's coming. Santi says, so the blade under the guard comb has to be a 10. Another groomer told me that she uses a 15, and then I get a clipper and the guard comb says it's best to use a 30. No, the answer is you can use a 10, 15, or 30. Nothing else. A 40 doesn't have long enough teeth, and your blade will knock against it. So that's why you can't use a 40. A 7 blade has too long a teeth. The guard comb won't fit and won't attach to it. But a 10, a 15, or a 30 is fine. It's your preference. I choose to use a 10 because I would never want to use a 30 in a sanitary area of a dog. And sometimes when you pop off your guard comb, you think you have a 10 on, and you can go right for the sanitary when you really had a 30. And now you just caused a skin infection on your dog. That's why I say 10. Because when you pop off that snap-on comb, at least you know you have a 10 blade on. If you would go then to trim around the sanitary or the bum, you're still safe as long as your blade's not hot. You always got to check to see if your blades are hot. Your guard combs are not going to heat up because they're protected. They're protected by the blade. But the blade underneath here is going to get hot. So if this is what's running along your body, the dog's body, the guard comb, this will not be hot. But as soon as you take that off, this is hot because this blade moves back and forth so fast that it heats up the metal, and it can get so hot that it'll heat up this whole blade. And let's face it, these clippers move at very high RPMs, so they will heat up. So it's important. But yeah, you can use 10, 15, or 30. It's your preference. I just always say 10, guys, because I want you to be safe and not sorry to make a mistake, you know? Oh, Lavender Puppy, Amy and Suzanne are my idols. I just can't believe it. That's craziness. That's craziness. Just scrolling up for some questions here, guys. I might miss a couple, and I apologize for that. You know I like to get to your questions. You're very important to me. All right. Okay, I see. I got that one. Is Rudy here? Is Anthony and Rudy here? If they are, hey guys, I can't wait to see you this week. Saturday. I can't wait. We're going to have fun. We're going to get into a little trouble. No, we're not. We're just going to be like kids in a candy store. Oh, I guess they are here. That's awesome. Raising my pack. Okay, I got that one, honey. Shelf life on shampoos, Petology specifically. You'd have to call the company, but they don't have it on the label, so I'm assuming good to go. Plus, I use shampoos for years. Polygraph. Hello, Polygraph. Says, why does Wall, Andis, etc. make $49 clippers? Oh, you got it. I know. Hey, I made a video about that. Why does Andis, Wall, and etc. make $49 clippers for the money? That's exactly why. And they also think that pet owners are going to fail and not have success grooming their own dogs anyway, so they won't feel bad if they only paid $50 for the clipper. So they're already making a clipper that is not appropriate for the job and that is not capable of doing the job. Because they think you're not capable of doing the job. And I say that is really, really bad. Bad. That's why all clippers are sold out because I've been telling you guys to go buy the real deal. Now there ain't any. That's okay. You deserve it. You deserve to buy the real deal. So why would they want their name on that crappy clipper? Because people still think it's their failure, not Wall's. Don't they want their name associated with high quality? Well, it is in the grooming industry. But yeah, you know, Conair does the same thing. Conair makes a real nice clipper for pet groomers. And then they make a clipper that they would put into Walmarts and stuff. And it's not really at all what it should be. Wall does it. Andis doesn't, if I'm correct. I have never seen Andis do that. I think Oster does. I think Oster makes crappy ones that are on the Walmart shelf. I think that that needs to come off the shelf, actually, because, like I said, it clearly only sets people up for failure. They think because you're not capable of grooming your own dog anyway and you don't know what you're doing, that you won't feel bad if you bought a $50 clipper versus a $200 clipper and still weren't able to do the job. Trust me, I get emails with people telling me, I bought the expensive clipper you told me and it doesn't work. And I just look at the email and I go, I don't even know what to say to that. You know, I don't want to be upsetting and say, look, you're not doing it right. You know, or you didn't brush your dog, or you're not applying enough pressure. It's not like you can't just buy the tool and say, now I bought the $200 clipper, I'm going to groom my dog. We're in business now. You still got to know what you're doing. You still got to know how much pressure to put on the clipper, how to roll the skin in front of the clipper. You have to know these things. That's why people go to dog grooming school. Otherwise, anybody would just be grooming dogs, you know. You have to know these things. But we share all that on my channel. And I did do a video polygraph probably about 2 or 3 years ago. It was a good one called dog clippers, or it wasn't best dog clippers. It was called dog clippers. Like, what's the difference between dog clippers? And it explains everything about the adjustable blade clippers, the detachable blade clippers, which clippers are worth buying, why Walmart and other places have these cheap wall clippers on their shelves. That was all in that video. It was fantastic. Jenny Sutherland, what are you doing? You snuck on in here. Epic fail. What's an epic fail? Oh, she snuck in here and super chatted. Put your wallet away. Go buy some new shampoo. Jeez, lady. You guys kill me. You make me laugh. CMM had a question. My blades seem to get really hot fast. I do spray them, but it's the length of the coat or something making it worse. Okay, CMM, I'm with you. This happens. Within a couple minutes, most of our detachable blades are going to be hot. So let's say if you're using a 7 to clip your dog down, make sure you have at least 2 so that you can take one off, lay it on a paper towel when it gets hot, spray it with Cool Care, and just leave it alone. Let it sit there. And grab the next one and pop it on. These clippers are powerful. They have strong RPMs. Strokes per minute is like 2,500. This many times per minute. That's a lot. And what also causes them to heat up, like this is an Artero blade. This is a Wall blade. Different blade manufacturers put research and ideas into making their own blades and what makes their blades better or worse. Certain metals will heat up quicker than others. Obviously, that's a reason for the ceramic blades, is the ceramic doesn't heat up like these do, like metal. Metal on metal causes friction and it heats up quickly. It's impossible to avoid that with this type of clipper. The reason why these clippers don't heat up is because this is plastic, or at least it's plastic coated. And that's what causes these not to heat up. They still have the friction, but it's a different type of blade. I also noticed some blades don't heat up as fast as others, like the Wall Competition series. I really like that about it. It must be the metal that it's made of. It doesn't heat up as quickly as some of those Andis blades I was using did. So that has everything to do with it, you know, is what the metal's made of. But all of them are going to get hot if they're metal blades, CMM. We can't avoid it, and we have to be prepared for it. There's Elsie. Good to see you, Elsie. Melissa. Oh, look at you guys. Good to see you, Melissa, Ashley, Uncle Sam's niece, Janelle. Oh my gosh. Court Jester. Look at all my lovely people raising my pack. Bobby. Oh, this is great. Zenducky. Debbie M. Oh, good for you guys. I'm so glad to see you. I never have... Giuseppe. I never get to sit here and scroll through when you guys are on. I love to see your names in the chat and know that you're here. So, Need for Speed says, is a 44 tooth on thinning shears better? Well, that varies. This is a 52 tooth shear. However, it's a 7.5 inch shear. So if you took 52 teeth and put it on a 6 inch shear, it's going to remove even less hair, right? So it's not the teeth, just the teeth that matters. It's the size of the shear. So if you had a 44 tooth 8 inch shear and you had a 44 tooth 7 inch shear, your 7 inch shear is not going to take as much. Hi, Terry. Your 7 inch shear is not going to take as much as your 8 inch shear because the teeth are now more spread out because they're covering more ground. So I hope that helps you, Need for Speed. You better be obeying the speed limit. Okay, so I don't see... Amy's first video was somewhere in... Yes, Impossible Pup. Somebody must have asked when my first video was. It was in 2018, I think. It was like February of 2018, I think it was. And you should go watch it. It's funny because I was just like, I know what I want to do. I'm just not sure how to do it on YouTube. It's been a fun ride because of you guys. That's for sure. And Janelle's reminding everybody to put their line in front of their questions. Raquel asked that question? Oh, I'm sure Raquel knew. Oh, she's giving a tub leash away. You are something. Always trying to give away things. Raquel, you're so nice. Make it fun. That's what you do. Oh, let's see. Oh, I think I gave away the answer. May 14, 2016, Uncle Sam's niece says, nope. Impossible Pup. It was first video somewhere in 2018. Wow, you guys. Uncle Sam's niece, February 6, 2018. I see now. Zenducky got it? Zenducky already won, but that was correct. Oh, good for you. Here's a question by Cappy. Cappy says, what do you say to somebody who wants to get into the industry but shadowing and volunteering? I'd say that is the first place to start, shadowing and volunteering, because you may not even like it. So I suggest that you follow somebody around, you know, hopefully you can do that. Another thing you can do is you can watch Suzanne Grand. She's live all day. She unedited, so you see everything that goes on in her grooming salon. You know, all the barking, all the pooping, all the good things, all the bad things. It's all there on her channel. And so if you can't shadow, you can at least like watch Suzanne's channel and find out, do I think I would fit into that? And if so, then maybe reach out to a groomer to try to learn bathing. Oftentimes you can get in under a groomer starting as a bather, brushing, learn to trim nails, then you'll move up to trimming feet. Oftentimes they'll train you because they see the value that you can bring. but they'll start you out at the beginning where you're less likely to have a lot of responsibilities or too much when you don't have the knowledge yet. So that's a good way to find out if you like it, though. And good luck to you, Cappy. I think you'll like it. It's not for everybody. Debbie says, which removes more hair, 46 or less teeth blender? That I explained. It depends on the size of your shear. This is a 52 tooth shear. It's a 7.5 inch shear. If this were a 6 inch shear and it was 52 tooth, the 52 tooth 6 inch is going to take less hair than the 7.5. So that's how that works. All right, you got to think of it like that, guys. They come in all different lengths. Don't forget. So you can't just say, I bought a 46 tooth blending shear. Well, what size was it? Well, it was a 46 tooth. Okay, well, was it a 6 inch shear or a 7 inch or an 8 inch? Because that matters. Susan says, what's the best lightweight? Oh, where'd you go, Susan? Hold on. What's the best lightweight cordless clipper? My Andis ACG gets quite heavy after a while. I'm sure it does. And that's why I like the Wall KM10. And the Wall KM cordless is a little heavier, but it's not much heavier than the KM10. So this is a light cordless clipper. But you may feel this is too heavy for you. I feel like the Wall KM10 is the lightest, most well-balanced clipper that still performs well that I have ever used. That's my answer. But that's my opinion too. You know, you guys have to respect that my answers are often my experiences. And somebody else may say, but I don't feel that way when I use it. It feels heavy to me. But we're all put together differently, right? Debbie M says, thank you, Amy, for all you do for us. Well, absolutely. You're welcome, Debbie. You know it's my pleasure. Jackie V, where did you go? But Jackie V says, off topic. I hope this is okay. Do you have a video of an Asian fusion cut on a Shih Tzu on your channel? Got my paw mat, my pet mat and products this week. Thank you. Oh, yes, you were a winner. Yay, Jackie. Good for you. I do not have an Asian fusion style trim, period, on my channel, other than the 3 videos that I made when I purchased the model head dog. Remember when we did that live? So I have those 3, and it was just the head. But I have one groomer in mind who grooms in New York City, who's reached out to me a while ago on Clubhouse. And we've kind of stayed in contact, but she grooms a lot of Asian fusion, and she said she would love to have me come to New York and groom, film her grooming an Asian fusion style trim. So I definitely am going to be planning to find somebody that has some really good looking Asian fusion style trims to showcase and film it for you guys and make some videos for you, because I don't do a lot of those in my shop simply because most of my clients will not brush their dogs. And I will not leave that kind of coat on a dog when I have to demat it. If they won't do it, I tell them I'm shortening this trim. I had the demat Fluffy, and Fluffy's mad at me, and I don't like it. I don't deserve to do that to Fluffy, and she doesn't deserve it, so because they're not brushing their dogs. I do have a few people who brush and bathe religiously, and I have one new young dog. His name is Gaby, and I'm going to be making a video with him. He's in a really cute trim. It's not an Asian fusion, but it's really full and it's got curves. It looks really nice. So that's one I'm going to be filming for you guys in the very near future. But I don't have an Asian fusion, but I'll be getting it for you. I'm definitely seeking out what I can't bring you guys. Because it's fun. It's fun for me to have those experiences with other groomers too, just like what Suzanne and I do. It's absolutely, I love it. Carol says, I have a client that wants to use When shampoo, which is a natural shampoo for humans. And I did not recommend that she did, but she insists because it's natural. Is it safe? Well, like I said before, Carol, pH balance for humans is different than the pH balance in the shampoos for the dogs. So you have to just explain to your client that your dog does not have the same pH balance as you, though this is a somewhat natural shampoo because it's not purely natural. Can't be, or wouldn't have any shelf life. You know, say, I understand that you want natural, and I have plenty of good natural products here. You have to trust me on that. You know, but say, I don't recommend it. We're going to throw your dog's skin off balance, and, you know, it could lead to skin problems that need corrected at the vet. So just kind of put it in her lap and say, look, you don't want that, do you? Then take my advice, lady. That's what you tell her. Yeah. So sometimes we have to be very, very, very honest. Debbie says, When makes dog shampoo too. Well, hey, listen, if they make dog shampoo, maybe that's something to mention, Carol. If it is made for dogs, then I'd say maybe I'd be more willing to do it. So, Court Jester, what are you doing, King of Aliens? My friend said he once threw a stick 2 miles and his dog still brought it back. Seems a bit far-fetched to me. Far-fetched. Also, you're the best. You're the best. Thank you for that. You are so funny. We love you. All right, guys. I'm going to probably shut things down here for tonight. It was great hanging out with you as always. I was glad to share this information with you, and I just want to take some of the stress out of these products and tools for you guys, because you kind of stress me out sometimes when I get the emails. I can see you're stressing. I'm waiting to buy this, but I don't know. Is it any good? And I'm like, if it's a detachable blade clipper, just buy it. It's good. It's fine. It'll do the job. So anyway, you guys continue to be awesome, just like you always are. Not without a salute. Court Jester, you're not getting out here without a salute. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You are so valued here with us. We love you. I will see you guys when I get back in town next Monday. I'll be back Sunday, so I'll have so much to share with you guys. Getting to actually meet and talk with Rudy and Anthony for a day and shop products and tools together and maybe do a little recording. So we'll see what we can put together. I cannot wait to see Jess. I absolutely adore her. I don't know if you've ever gotten the chance to meet Jess Adorno, I think her last name is, from Paparazzi Pets. You can follow her on Instagram. She just lights up my days, and she is a fantastic groomer, and she's super motivating. Just to talk to her is very motivating. She's a wonderful woman, and I cannot wait to see her this weekend too. So you guys take care. I'll bring all the tea back with me, okay? Here's a subscriber showdown for you. I love you guys. Have a good week.